Good morning, students. Today I shall be dealing with your sonnet, Shall I Compare Thee, which is written by William Shakespeare. As I had already discussed this sonnet earlier, but maybe some of the students missed it, so I shall repeat it for you. So, see, the title is Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? Whom does the poet wants to compare? So here, most of the sonnets which Shakespeare has written, either he has written for his patron friend or he has written for the dark lady, and he has written nearly 154 sonnets. And in this sonnet you will be finding that he wants to praise his friend's beauty, and he wants to make his friend's beauty to be immortal. Okay, that is why he wants to immortalize the beauty of his friend. So he uses many similes for that. Okay, and there is a all the Shakespearean sonnets, they are written in Petrarchan style, and the first 8 lines are, you already know, octave, and the remaining 6 lines are sestet. Okay, and see, the rhyme pattern is A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. So I have given you the rhyme scheme pattern also. Okay, so that it becomes quite easy for you. Like, see the rhyme pattern: shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So though thou art more lovely and more temperate, rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. So you find day and May to be similar. You give A and A. Then temperate and date, B and B. Shines and declines, C and C. Dimmed and untrimmed, D. D. So it's like that. Okay. So that it becomes quite easier for you to remember, and you can follow the same pattern for other sonnets. Now, first of all, I will read these 14 lines for you. Okay, so in the octave part, you will find the introduction, you will find the main subject, and how does he come to the conclusion in remaining 6 lines, that you will come to know. So, see the first person of the poet: shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaf hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not, nor lose possession of that fair thou erst, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. Okay, now summer shall not fade, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. There is misprint, you can find it in the top one. Now, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this give life through thee. So see, first of all, he wanted to compare his friend's beauty to a summer's day. Okay, so did he use this simile? Okay, he didn't, because he found that summer's day is very hot. Okay, and it's very rough, and whereas my friend is very lovely, he's more temperate, more softer. And what happens during summer when rough winds blow? So the darling birds, the birds which are going to blossom, so birds, they are broken with rough winds, and summer's leaf, summer's contract, all too has a shorter date. In English country, summer is celebrated. But what happens in summer? Though there are beautiful buds, beautiful flowers, but it also has its own dire consequences. So that is why he says, I don't want, he drops the idea of comparing his friend to a summer's day. Okay. So then, when he wants to compare his friend's beauty to a summer's day, so naturally, during summer, the hot sun, we have to go for hot sun also. So there is a metaphor which is being used here. Now see, this particular sonnet is very rich in similes and figures of speech. You find metaphors. Okay, now sometime too hot the eye of heaven. Now here eye of heaven is a metaphor used for sun. So sometimes what happens during summer season, the sun shines very, there is scorching heat. Okay, so many beautiful flowers which are there for few hours, they also wither away. So that is why he says sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. Sometimes it is so hot that you can't bear the sunlight. So that is the reference. So he doesn't want, because his friend is more temperate, more softer, more beautiful. So he does not want to compare his friend's beauty to a summer's day. And often is his gold complexion dim. Now one more here, summer season, the sun is being personified. Now the sun which is having a golden complexion. So sometimes that golden complexion of the sun is also dimmed because there are clouds in the sky. Okay, now and every fair. Now here fair stands for beautiful thing. And every fair from fair sometime declines. So whatever is beautiful in nature, it has to perish. It has to come to an end. So what the poet's message is, oh my friend, you are so virtuous. Physically you may die, but I want to make your virtuosity, I want to make, you immortal. And how he can do it? He will give it that in the sestet, okay, and in the last two lines, okay. Now, and every fair from fair sometime declines. So everything in nature, that trimming course is there either by accident or by nature's process, it has to come to an end. So by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed, naturally, by chance, some accident may happen, some misfortune, and beautiful thing has to come to an end. And then nature course is itself, it remains untrimmed. That means this process, nature's process, child is born, then youth is there, then maturity is there, then a man grows old, and naturally then he has to die. So that changing course is untrimmed. That means it has to come. So naturally. So he says, oh, I don't want to do that, because I want to make my friend immortal. But thy eternal summer shall not nor lose possession. So he wants to make the summer, the beauty. Okay, now here summer also is metaphorical language. So here summer is the beauty of his friend. Okay, so that beauty which he owes, that should not come to an end. So he wants to make it, permanent. Okay. Now, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Now, fair word is having not only literal meaning but in-depth meaning also. Not only beautiful, but it is his nature. It is his qualities. So that he wants to remain. He wants to make it immortal. Okay, so. And you will never lose possession of that. So the poem way back written in 16th century, today you are reading in 21st century. So he has made his friend immortal through these 14 lines. This is what? Now, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death. Now death is invincible, death is so powerful, nobody can stop the process of death and time, these two things. Now he says, nor shall death. Now everybody is scared of death. So even it cannot, now death is also being personified, it cannot brag thou wanderest in a shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. Naturally, death is always associated with black color or some shadow or shade. So he says, when death comes, and death wants to take you away, but it cannot do that, because I will make you immortal. But how does he now make him immortal, his friend immortal? So he says, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in a shade, when, because you will escape from death also. How? when in eternal lines. Now this is very important, and you know literature's power, literature, art is immortal. Okay, it is undying. When in eternal lines, to time thou growest. Okay, so you will keep on growing in literature, way back written there in so many centuries back. Today you are reading about his friend's beauty, so he has made his friend immortal through the lines of literature, through the lines of this poetry. Now so long as men can breathe, naturally our posterity, we will die, then future generation is going to come. So long as men can breathe, that means till the day this world is there, people are there surviving on it, or eyes can see, so long lives this means this poem, this sonnet, and this give life to thee. Oh my friend, you will physically, your body may perish, but you will always remain, your virtuosity, your beauty will remain intact in my eternal lines. So he makes his friend immortal through his sonnet, through his poem. So here you also realize the power of literature, the power of art. Okay, so that is very, very crucial, very important. So the job today is just to write about the discuss this poem as a sonnet, and writing about sonnet's definition, and then also discuss the rhyme scheme of this particular sonnet, and to whom it is devoted. So, and just make a critical note on it. Thank you for your patience, students. Tomorrow I shall begin with a new topic. Thank you so much.